Good morning. This is Pierre Wilkey with Major League Trading. It is 8:51 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, November 11th, 2019. Singles Day for Alibaba, U.S. Veterans Day here in the States. So thank you to all the veterans that made our lives possible over the years and the sacrifices to you and your families. So, with that said, it is a U.S. bank holiday today. So, the markets usually will move a little bit slower on U.S. bank holidays. So, if we look at the prior day on Friday, we had a neutral session. We're still bullish on all the time frames from 5 days all the way up to the year to date. So, overnight has been a mixed bag for the NASDAQ, and the Dow has been bearish, and for the uh, for the Dow and the Russell has been bearish, and I didn't hit this. It should be neutral for the ES and the Nasdaq. So I need to correct that. So as we're sitting here looking right now, I'll go ahead and fix that while I'm thinking about it. All right. So as we look out at the week this week, and we'll get into FOMC for a minute, but there's nothing at all coming up as far as the market thinks for anything to do with a price change all the way out through the end of next year. So Wednesday, 8:30, we have CPI. We have Jerome Powell testifying at 11 o'clock on Wednesday and 10 o'clock on Thursday. These things last for a few hours when he's on the mic. So I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to be market moving, to be honest with you, but it could be a little bit of a lack of liquidity event, right? So while he's on the mic, the market's liquidity might dry up, and it might be a little bit of a rangy, choppy session. So while he's on the mic these days, you might not want to be trading, to be honest with you. So then you've got core retail sales at Friday at 8:30 a.m. So nothing notable today. You got Rosengrand is going to be speaking at 9:15. I don't think he's going to say anything that's going to move the market. It's not even on the Fed calendar. It's just on the Forex factory calendar. So as we look back at the prior day, and we were watching the point of control for the ES and said that, to get very bullish, the market had to get above there. And I talked about maybe we would consolidate lower and then make a rate a run later in the day. I didn't know if we'd end up consolidating under this or running late in the day, but basically, just trapping those bears. So we got a little bit of ahead of ourselves from where all the bars were on Friday, right? We ran away from those into the close, and now overnight tonight, we'll look at it in a second, we've wrapped right back around and rotated underneath the value area. So it's just a game of who moved my cheese. So this is the box that I said you needed. This is a support resistance box that we were drawing in for the NASDAQ on Friday, and you can see it never could push through it, and that's the area we were watching on the ES was the point of control. But it did, finally make that run up into that zone on Friday. Looking at the bell-to-bell fibs and the internals, you can see that the bulls had it going on, right? If you look at what's going on, they come back down to the 38.2, right around 11:15, and then they completed those targets up into the close of the day. So no selling pressure, right? All the internals on the upper end of the chart, uh, not a bear to be found. and not enough of them with friends anyways to do anything. Very similar picture for the NASDAQ, except it did not complete the targets. We'll get into these longer term charts in just a second. Looking at the Dow, plus a whopping 12.34 points close to close, and minus a whopping 2.65 open to close. Looking at the profile from Friday, we can see that really not a lot going on. We can just watch the profile. We can watch the point of control, right? It's going to be prominent for the ES, not as much for the NASDAQ. So let me grab some notes here. So for the NASDAQ, we'll watch 82.41 and we'll watch it to basically 82.29. So about 13 points in there. And then we can just watch the value area after that. I'll go ahead and mark off basically 82.15. So we've got pretty much what I consider a double distribution. And then it's not as prominent, but enough that I think we might get some reactions. And 82.09. So we'll keep an eye on those two zones. So this is what I was talking about with the Fed on the next slide here. You can see, I'll blow this up. There is nothing going. We are currently between 1.5 or 150 and 175 basis points. And you can see that there's it never drops below 50% going out through the end of next year. That's where we're staying. So there's nothing priced into the market for another rate hike or cut. Right, there's 0% priced in for a rate hike all the way through the end of next year. No one's got even a dollar on it anywhere. And then so maybe there's some opportunity there, but I doubt if after the Fed yo-yoed the market this year, if they'll be dumb enough to do it again next year. But you never know. So then we look at where we're going out. So just nothing going on with the Fed. So I think we can put that on the back burner for a while. So as we look at the overnight action, 15.5 points overnight, we can see that pretty much since the market opened, right, we had this late run up into the close. It was just really a short squeeze into the close, getting all the traders that were bearish, right, that were waiting for a few more ticks, thought we'd get a lower drive, pretty much just screwing them traders into the close is all this was. So once the market reopened last night, it's just been a fade back down. If you look at where that point of control is that we said was prominent, so we got below it, retraced right back up to it and down, and just sitting here still in Friday's range, right? But we're in what I would consider the bullish part of the range, or the bearish part of the range, excuse me. So we'll move some, let's go ahead and put those zones on here. So we're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of this. And we're going to put on two different boxes. Maybe. All right, let's try this again. So we're going to have a box from 8209 to 8215. We're going to duplicate this. And we're going to put another box on between 8239 or 8229 to 8241. So these are really your distributions from Friday. All right, sorry about that. So I'm still a little half asleep over here. So as we see, we're kind of in between those ranges right now for the NASDAQ. We got the prominent point of control for the ES. Let's look at the overnight trend sequences. The bears are in control for the ES, right? Coming out of this high, we've got basically a 15.5 point range, and it's to the downside. So you've got bears in control for the NASDAQ, right? And you've got bears in control prominently for the Russell. So all those draws break up at that 61.8, so we can keep our eye on those, see what's going on. If we look at the longer term charts, it looks like potentially we're sitting here right on this support line at 30.77.5. We could end up breaking above it, but this is really, I'm going to throw another line on this now, but really what we're looking at is the bottom end of this zone. That's going to come in at a 30.71 quarter, basically. And what we want to see is that's really going to be your last stopping point here. If we break down, we could get a flush down to there and then get stuck in this zone. Below 30.71 quarter is going to be a little bit more bearish, right? We could get all the way down to 30.55. I don't think that's in play today, to be honest with you. I don't even know if we're going to get any traction below 30.77.50, and we could just, make our way back up towards 30.84. It could be a very narrow, tight day today. So we're going to go ahead and slap another level on here. We're going to dot this one out. This is here, but it may not be as strong. That's going to be at 30.84.50. And we'll leave it at 75. All right, let's check out the NASDAQ. So you can see the zones that we drew on the chart with the profile, and you can see the overlay. So there's really not a lot more that we need to watch other than that for that. Let's check out gold and crude. So as we look at where crude is just range bound, right? If you look at this, it definitely has a sequence coming in from overnight, and maybe if we can break the 56.24, we can get to 55.91 each. So we'll see if that is in play. But otherwise, if this can't break, right, we get back above 56.50, you're probably going close to 57. And looking at gold, gold is just something that it's a little extended to the downside now, and I wouldn't want to be chasing it, and it's a little bit too burned up to just respond back up higher immediately. So I would think gold would be a no touch for the day. So let's look at all the indexes, give our little parting thoughts. Remember today, once the U.S. session starts, right, we're probably going to have a lack of liquidity today, maybe even some volatility, light range bound volatility, not like screaming anywhere. So we've got our little levels to watch that we can watch. We can watch the continuation and the break of those overnight sequences. I'm not looking for anything big to get going, and I don't even think we can get any real continuation below Friday's lows. So look for a little bit of a range bound, choppy day with a slightly bearish tone to it before the bell. Remember, the overnight action is all bearish, right? So those traders could get their hands slapped on them. I would say that odds for a gap fill today are probably like 85-90% that will trade all the gap fills at least once today. So look out just for chop, and then I will talk to you tomorrow. And tomorrow should be a little bit of a better setup, right? We're going to have everyone's going to be back in. They're playing. Remember, the market is light today. Probably 40% of the traders aren't trading today. So that's going to create, lack of liquidity and issues on that front. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day.